if you've got a digital addiction, this next story is for you, Carlos. You think kids and teenagers that would be the worst offenders, but it turns out they're not. It's people like Ally.
It's people, well, I mean, who was just on their phone then, huh? But adults, well, on average, we pick up our phone every 12 minutes. So digital wellbeing expert, Dr. Joanne Orlando, joins us now in Sydney. Doctor, this is surprising. We're worse than the kids.
Yeah, we are. We've always been focusing our attention on getting the kids' habits under control. But since COVID, so many people feel like their tech habits have just gone through the roof and they're feeling quite out of control in terms of reining them back into some kind of healthy, balanced way of using technology.
I would have thought once every 12 minutes was a little bit, well, undersaying it, because every couple of minutes Ali's on her phone checking news
well,
sites.
Your conversation should be more interesting. I wouldn't have to. That's a fair point, isn't it, Joe?
Oh, you're backing your own points now. You're so up yourself. Anyway, we digress. How much impact has the pandemic had, say, for example, on time online?
I'm just wondering if I'm here just for you two, actually.
Well...
Well, the pandemic has dramatically changed our uses of technology. We've spent long hours online scouring for information that's really important, like case numbers, restrictions, how do I use Zoom for work? Plus also, it's kind of flung us into this sci-fi digital life that we as humans weren't really ready for. Like QR codes and telehealth, things like that, we weren't expected to do for around 30 to 40 years. So now we're kind of, on the good side, is that we're using technology and more accepting in the ways that we're using it. But we've also been just using it to such excess that so many of us are really worried, can we sustain such high and stressful uses of technology?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I think most of us probably wake up in the morning, the first thing we do is start scrolling through our phone.
But isn't that relaxing?
Yeah, around 85% of us do that. Very first thing, as soon as we wake up, we just reach out for our phone. And that in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, but people really worry about it. But what is the bad side to that is what you actually do when you wake up and you're holding your phone. So most of us just dive straight into the news or social media, which, gives us an update on all the disasters that happened overnight. Plus, we know there's lots of worries around social media use and that constant comparison. So what we're doing is we're actually going into quite negative content first thing in the morning. That's how we start our day. It sets up the mood and it sets up for kind of how we approach that day.
So how do we break the pattern and how do you get to the point where you want to?
So the first thing to do is if you're reaching for your phone and you really want to keep doing that, is to think about what you're doing when you're on the phone. So instead of going straight into news and social media, do something that's a lot more positive and uplifting. Put that audio book on that you've been listening to, or listen to music, something like that. And if you're worried that you're just kind of on your phone, scrolling all the time, then think about the times when you're doing that. Maybe it's like waiting in line for coffee, and set yourself up to do something a lot more productive on there.
Okay, perfect.
Really good tips there, Joe.
Tips on managing your screen time. Grab a copy of Joanne's latest book, Life Mode, on at any major book retailer. It's terrific.